To the official launching ceremony of the X-City Engineering Solution, state-of-the-art solar microgrid. And as you all can see here, we're all standing under the roof, but this is actually a solar. So on that note, I would like to welcome everyone to us. My name is Emmanuel Kotu. Some of you may know me, or some of you may not know me. Just before we start the program, I'm so honored. I just heard from the president of the University of Liberia, and she just told me, your program is my favorite. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. So without much ado, I'd like to call on Jeremiah Akwe to do for us the welcome remarks. People here,
Good evening, everybody. Representative from the Office of the President, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, ministers and other officials of government here present, members of the business community, community leaders, my fellow ex-citizens, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Chief Executive Officer of X-City Engineering Solution, Dr. Samuel P. Ziama, we want to officially welcome you here today at the commissioning ceremony of our state-of-the-art commercial industrial solar microgrid here at our headquarters in Johnsonville. Today marks a significant milestone, not just for our company, but for the entire country, as we unveil the first solar microgrid fiscal in Liberia. We are deeply honored to have us officials of government, even members from the Office of the President. Your presence here today underscores the importance of sustainable energy solutions, driving economic growth and environmental stewardship. This project embodies our commitment to innovation, sustainability, and paving the way for brighter, greener, and industrial future for Liberia. Together, we are taking a bold step towards energy independence and climate resilience. Once again, thank you all for joining us on this momentous occasion. Let us celebrate this achievement and look forward to the positive impact it will have on our country and our economy. You are all welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akwe. Without wasting much time, we'll call on for the opening remarks. We'll call Mr. Ronald Morris to do for us opening remarks. Quickly.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, good evening and welcome to a moment that marks a powerful shift in the way we think about energy, industry, and possibility in Liberia. Tonight, standing here in Johnsonville, we're witnessing something that not long ago was dismissed as impossible. But as my theme boldly declares, it can be done, and it is being done. Let me take you back briefly, back to conversations we used to have somewhere in that area there, under a canopy that is now extinct, but it was for a good purpose. And Doc assures me that he's going to recreate another area where we can continue those conversations. But it was a small gathering, a few bold ideas, and one persistent voice, Sana Ziama. And we'll talk about all sorts of things, the Liberian way. and we talk mostly. Except this time, he didn't just dream of clean power. He didn't just write proposals or attend conferences. No. He took decisive action. I said, Yama, you sure? He said, yeah, we'll see. And in a short while, we started to see boxes arrive. He didn't tell me. And then he said, come by, let's talk. And I came and there were boxes right there. Some of them still there. And so we took pictures. I said, I'm wearing the boxes. He said, you know. And this entire place, of course, it was nothing like this. And he said, come back in a few months. And now, here we are, standing before Liberia's first scalable industrial-grade solar microgrid. Liberian funded, Liberian built, Liberian owned. 100%. Let us pause and appreciate what it means that industrial processes in Liberia can indeed be powered by renewable energy, by our own vision, by our own resources, with our own hands. Not of concept, but of capacity that we Liberians are extremely well able. Now, imagine if every county in Liberia at the seat of government was doing same. Portions of our county development funds could be invested in similar solar plants, serving as revenue generators, powering schools, hospitals, and local factories. In Margibi County, for example, from whence I hail, Jetty has a rubber processing plant. What if the county administration was selling power, clean, renewable energy to that plant? Not only would they generate significant revenue, but they would also create jobs for thousands of our young Liberians who graduate from universities across this nation in electrical engineering and have nothing to do with their degrees. They fight to get an opportunity to travel outside, and we can't blame them for that because we aren't giving the opportunities here. So this is proof of what can be done here. This is not a pipe dream. It's practical. In fact, we've already seen it. Just last week, the steel mill in California. Thank you, Doc. I read. Okay. In the Mojave micro mill became the first in the U.S. to run entirely on solar power. A steel mill. And anybody knows how much power a steel mill requires. So if a steel mill in California can do it, then surely a processing plant in Grand Bassa or a storage facility in Lofa can also do it. What's more, Dr. Ziama has demonstrated unequivocally that funding is no longer the barrier once thought of all Liberians and the excuse for inaction. Local bank will fund any of these projects. They are bankable. We've gone through that. Doc and I, we know it's bankable. It's here. Besides the local bank, and Doc and I have gone through this also, we have enough Liberians with enough of the resources to do what you see here locally without having to have any aid. Guys, you know the aid being canceled all over the place nowadays. So it's doable. Thank you, Doc, for proving that and demonstrating that. Let this scalable industrial microgrid in Johnsonville serve as our call to action, our working blueprint. Let it spark not just power, but vision, belief, and determination across all 15 counties. Because it can be done, and tonight proves that it is being done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ratamaris. We stay here, and yes, it can be done by a Liberian or Liberians. So I know we are all not used to this kind of thing, standing up to talk, but this is more like a cocktail event. So please bear with us. After all of our speeches, we'll have time to sit down and also go around, to make friends and, have a discussion. And we're also going to take you on a tour of this area so that you see what we're talking about. It's not just about rhetorics, but you're going to see for yourself. So without wasting much of your time, I would like to call on someone who has the vision and also to support him, because at the end of the day, someone once told me when I was in school in Ghana, university, nobody called me Emmanuel Kotu. They called me Emmanuel Liberia. And I was asking myself why they kept calling me Emmanuel Liberia, because I feel that I think every Liberian has got that responsibility to take on their country to carry along. So whatever I did in high school was all about Liberia. So I wasn't even accepted in that society. So it means that we have to come back home. If you go far away, you have to come back. One of my African lecturers said, no matter how long a lizard stays in the river, it cannot be a crocodile. Oh. Yeah. He said that to me. He said, so I was asking, every time you say, oh, Emmanuel Liberia, like, you speak all the tree, you speak everything, but you're not a Ghanaian. So you're the officer from the X-City Energy Solution, the CEO, Mr. Dr. Sana P. Jama. Welcome.
Well, the possibility of today was a dream that I had a long time ago. And the fact that we are here provides me with more evidence, and it increases my hope of even realizing the bigger dreams that I have. So, if nature deigns my continued existence, this would not be the last time I will call you for such an occasion, and it would be perhaps the smallest event that I will call you for. So, my story of embarking on this journey is premised upon one simple and perhaps very easy conceptual idea, and that is Liberians own very little or none of its means of production, and we must reverse that. Now, our easiest scapegoat we like to use and blame for all of these predicaments is the government of Liberia. And at some point, we must all realize that the government is simply a reflection of the larger society. And so if we, the individual citizens, fail to take matters into our hands and reverse the course we are on, there is no hope for our government to succeed in doing so. So this is why we are here today. A single individual with that dream and with that adamant and tenacious will to succeed in the face of all of the adversities that we face in realizing this. Funding this entirely from our own shallow pockets to demonstrate and to show to banks and other financiers that this development is actually bankable. So it is not a trivial matter to demonstrate this, apparently, to banks. So we had to dig into our own pockets to deliver this. But what do we have here? Fellow citizens, to power your nation's industrial processes requires a different scale of energy. It is easier to power homes and home appliances, something we haven't actually achieved yet in Liberia. So it is a different scenario to do this at an industrial scale. And we decided to leapfrog, providing power for homes and building something that will power industrial processes. And again, it is that decision is based on a simple premise that I already laid, that we need to take a good share of the means of production in this country. 18th century economists have already told us this, that those who control the finances of any nation are the people who hold true power for that nation. And if those people who own the finances are malevolent or even indifferent to the success of your nation, you are going nowhere. If you doubt the geometric argument that I just laid, you just need to look at Liberia progress or lack of it since our founding in 1847 up to present. So that provided sufficient impetus for us to invest into this, into building a solar system that is capable of powering industrial machines. So we will begin with the solar panels. So for us to truly build an industrial power system, we had to build something that is efficient and occupy as minimal area as possible. So if you look on this back wall, we have two types of solar panels. And we are showing the back side of the panels because the front side is made of glass and the solar modules. But the difference between these two panels, besides the obvious difference in sizes, is the back plate. So the first one there has a white-black back plate, and that doesn't harvest any power from its rear side. The next one, the bigger one, has glass in the back plate. So this one is called bifacial solar panel. And this particular brand and type we have here has the capacity of harvesting 705 watts every second from the sun. The other one, which is more for residential homes, has the capacity of harvesting 550 watts of power. So there's a vast difference. But besides that, because this has a double glass face, it actually harvests more than the 705 watts that is prescribed on the new plate. And this roof that you stand under is made out of these bifacial double glass solar panels. And that is why you see the rear side looks like glass. Because this rear side is actually in real panels are reflecting back. And that provides us the means of becoming much more efficient than just the efficiency of the front seat project. Because you have a space on top of there that will still hold some panels. But actually this installation is over completed. And that is why the first row of solar panels have the wires hanging out and they are unconnected. Because it turns out that we did not anticipate that the back side of these panels will harvest and be so efficient as they are. So we overestimated the number of solar panels we will be needing for our installation. And that entire front row is no longer needed for this installation. Instead, that row of panels and potentially another row that we will add will feed directly into our efficient hybrid solar AC systems that will be installed on that building that you see. So from the panel, the next big initiatives, the next big leap we took was to purchase and invest into a state-of-the-art hybrid inverter. And this inverter is capable of transmitting power to longer distances and is capable of supporting the power demands of heavy machineries. This inverter is quite different from other residential inverters that are meant to transmit power over only short distances, like what you use in your home, and would supply power only for your home appliances. So this inverter, on the other hand, is capable of transmitting power undissipated over very long distances. And as a proof of that, we test everything. And the power that is delivered from these solar panels are converted into this room, and the batteries are charged, which is part of the distribution system. And that power is transmitted all the way to that building. But before it arrives at that building, it goes into that small building behind you, where we change the source of power that we wish to use from either solar or generator, or if we wanted to, if we had reliable grid electricity, we could choose to use grid electricity. But I'm pleased to announce that we are completely unconnected to the grid. We are 100% reliant on solar power for all of our industrial and commercial operations in this compound. And we've tested the voltage that we get in the building, which is the final destination of the power. So the rated capacity of these inverters is that it's supposed to supply native 3-phase power, 120 volts / 208 volts. The 208 volts is supposed to power all of your 240 watts, 240 volts industrial appliances. However, when we test the voltage we get at the final destination, where we're supposed to get 120 volts, we are getting 125 volts. Where we're supposed to get 208 volts, we are getting 225 volts. What that means is that our inverter is telling us, I want you to deliver this power far away from here. That is what it is simply telling us. So we are having more power than we actually should be getting. And that is because we judiciously selected reliable, tested, and well-engineered components. The next thing I wish to demonstrate here today is our battery. These batteries, again, if you select the kind of inverters that we selected and the kind of solar panels we selected, you must select battery systems that are commensurate and are compatible with the level of power you are going to utilize. So the batteries we have here are quite dangerous, but they are safe for you to touch. They are high voltage batteries. Normally, for context, in the residential systems, the batteries installed are 6 volts, 12 volts, 24 volts, or the highest is 48 volts. The battery system we have in here, they have 400. So that gives you more than sufficient power to power whatever industrial processes that you have. But I have a better news. Beyond this, the next one we will power, that we will build here, what we are targeting, we want to be able to deliver not only 208 volts of AC voltage, we want to deliver something that will give you 480 volts. And that, my friends, is going to be sufficient to power a steel mill, to power whatever industrial process that you want to power in this country. And again, let's remind ourselves, the reason why we are taking these bold steps, these steps that seem bigger than ourselves, is because we are deeply frustrated with our low level of representation in the ownership of the means of production of this country. So this is why we are taking individual steps to do this. Now, how do we utilize this prototype and what it promises? We will need a lot of collaboration. We will need a lot of people who think that the premise upon which we basically build all of these is sound. And those people must not only give verbal nod of support, but they must be willing to roll up their sleeves like we have done to realize a dream like this. Now, to facilitate some of that, I've made it work easier for all of you, government, private citizens alike, for us to join hands and do this. That is why I started a bigger initiative to build a microtech city on the RIA highway. And this city promises to have exclusive dedicated zones for where you can build your residential homes in a well laid out community where even the alley is 33 feet wide. And it will also have a dedicated industrial zones that occupy several acres beyond 50 acres. The first industrial processes zones is at least 50 acres. Then there is another 50 acres dedicated for commercial buildings where we are happy to collaborate with people who want to build super malls, banks, etc. to create a true uptown shopping district. We also have dedicated zones for healthcare communities, entire block dedicated for healthcare projects. We also have places where if you live in Exeter and you are going to be procreating, we have educational zones that will cater to your educational needs for your children from nursery through college. And we look forward to building truly magnificent and beautiful homes for you in Exeter. We have some of our home designs on the banners, and those are homes that our engineers have designed, and we have had the honor of inviting artisanal builders from some of our West African neighbors, not to name any, who are skilled to build such homes. So we assure you that while we are building these homes to meet your desired expectations of what a truly beautiful home looks like, we are also making sure that we train Liberians who can build that. Take, for instance, this magnificent project was realized entirely by Liberian workforce. Although I had to do a lot of yelling and screaming, but we finally were able to achieve this. And before I take my seat, because I stand in the way of you and your drinks, so I will not hold you too long, but the last thing I want to say, and this is directly directed to Liberians in the diaspora, I think we have to realize one thing. For diaspora Liberians, and the one thing we need to realize is this: it is not sufficient to have the chance to live in a society that has been made organized by the sweat and blood of others, and then look back at your fellow compatriots with sometimes a sense of supercilious feeling and contemptuous look upon your friends. But it is our duty to return home and build this country. And I'll leave you with one saying by the great President Abraham Lincoln. He said, "I would like to see a man who is proud of the place in which he lives. I would like to see a man lives so that his place is proud of him." As for me, I am truly not in control of the latter. I don't know at any point whether this country will ever be proud of me. And that is out of my control and is none of my concern. What concerns me is that I am not sufficiently proud of the place I come from. And these endeavors are meant to basically complete my feeling of pride in the place from which I come. So I encourage Liberians in the diaspora to think about that, to ponder over that yes, you are living in a comfortable place, but it was not your sweat that brought it to where it is. Thank you all.
I think we can do better than that. So if you're living in a comfortable place, but it's not as a result of your sweat, you need to think twice. You gotta come back home and do something for yourself. Do it again, like it. I'll see you around the corner. Sorry I have the master sheet. I know everybody got a couple of... We'll move away from that. We can also call on the Deputy Minister from the Ministry of Public Works, Mr. Prince Tamba.
Mr. Prince is not here.
Okay.
Good evening, ladies and distinguished gentlemen, officials of government present. My name is Josilia Tapla. I'm the Deputy Minister for Rural Development and Community Services. And I'm delighted to be at this opening. I shouldn't be making a remark. I asked my colleague Prince to do the honor, because Exodus is not just a dream. It's something that I think I met that Asima the first time he came to the office asking for land use permits. And immediately I was approached about Exodus. I was like, wow, I think this is something that I should help with. And since then, I believe in the vision that we as Liberians, young Liberians, can do better to build our country. And this is the first step towards it. And we must do all in our power at Ministry of Public Works to ensure that Exodus vision becomes a reality. Whatever in our means, in our capacity at Ministry of Public Works, we have been approached to help with the road, and we will definitely do that. But we see this, even the microgrid solar panel that is being inaugurated today, we see it just not as a dream for one person, we see it as a vision that indeed Liberia can get better, and it can get better with us doing it ourselves. Long are the days that we depend on dollar funding. Dollar funding are depreciating gradually. And I think I see our boss here. He is really aware of that. We must raise domestic revenues and work within our own income to build back better. We are 100+ years old, and our city do not look and represent Liberia as the first and the oldest country in Africa. So this is a time that we must call on all well-meaning Liberians to come back home and let us make Liberia a better place. This is a sweet land of liberty. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, from the Ministry of Public Works. At this point, I would like to call on, I don't know, sometimes this is the part I don't like, but if you want development, you have to accept. When you go do your little, contract, they say you got to pay tax. Like we're not used to it. But I think to some extent, they have worked so hard. Now we are beginning to accept the fact that we need to pay tax for our country to develop. So without wasting much time, I would like to call on Honorable Double Jala for a brief remark.
Just before you start, I haven't made any penny from this, so I don't have that.
I think the taxes will waive on the import. Okay. Today reminds me of an experience I had in Manhattan. This was my first visit to the U.S. I was in Boston in school. But being the explorer, I decided I would go to New York because I wanted to get information on Colombia. So I go to New York, take the Chinatown bus, get in the subway, get lost, finally ask questions here and there. I find my way, and I'm passing through the park. I see these two heads bubbling and shouting my name. I'm perplexed because who knows me here? This is my first time coming in this place, And it turned out there were two students of mine in high school in St. Patrick's. Both of them have maintained their friendship from high school, and they will meet around lunchtime. They were both working on Wall Street, and they will come together to have lunch together. I felt so proud that day, that I from Yendemola have been able to impact young people, and here they were in the financial capital of the world, making inroads. Today gives me that same feeling. When I taught Sana a long time ago, in fact, he reminded me that, I taught him calculus, then I remember. The feeling that it gives, that you've empowered someone and the person has come back, to give so much to your society is really, really overwhelming. And I think it's a feeling that only very few people, have experienced because not many people are teachers like me. So I'm really very proud, but aside from the pride, the vision that you just explained actually coincides with my vision as well. I believe that the way for us to move this country forward is to create wealth. And for us to create wealth, we have to control the means of production because that is where, wealth is. We have to get into production, into manufacturing, and we have to do these things. For a very long time, one of the key impediments to advancing industrialization in this country has been power, access to electricity. Even now, if you do a comparative analysis, the cost of power, the cost per kilowatt in Liberia is far higher than many places. So that's why we don't see hairdressers thriving. We don't see people with barber shops thriving because the cost of operation is too high because of the cost of electricity. So this is one idea that could help along the lines of mitigating the power problem. So I'm really very happy, for this initiative, Sana. We will stand by you, we will stand with you, and ensure that, the heights that you have envisioned, that you can be able to attain those heights. Thank you.
Thank you so much. He is the Director General of the Liberia Revenue Authority. If you have a real property or you got your business, you may get your tax bill all over the place. So they will come for you. Anyway, so thank you so much again. Without wasting much time, I'd like to call on somebody that when they were pronounced to come to Liberia, I had some thought. I was thinking like, hey God, they won't be doing all the thing or corner and she come and get pressure here. But thank God, mommy what I didn't carry. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome for a brief remark the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Leda Mapian.
Wow, how exciting is this? I came here thinking I was just going to get a few ideas for putting solar on my house, and now I'm rethinking the entire Fendel campus. I'm looking at Exeter and I'm thinking, can we have Exeter Junior University City right It's time for some growth. It's time to make that leap into the 21st century. And, you know, one of the things that's really been driven home to me as a point since I came into the presidency, literally, I just finished my first 100 days yesterday, is that electricity, energy, power is the foundation of education in the 21st century. You know, there was a time we could go under the bush and do everything we needed to do with an elder, but that's our ancestry. Now we need reliable, 24-hour, strong power that can power all of the devices that connect us globally, connect us to information, give us access to the systems that run our university efficiently. These are the kind of things that we have to figure out how to fast track to return the University of Liberia to the glory that we know it is capable of. As the nation's flagship university, we want to be out front on embracing innovation. We want to be out front on bringing those things that will make our university function at full throttle. But not only that, every time we embrace a new technology, we want to make sure that we're training the students to be able to do it. I agree with you that lifting up our own resources is important, to be able to build the means of production and the people who know how to do everything, how to fix everything, how to maintain everything, and how to innovate with what we have. So that is my vision for the university. All 4 of our campuses, not only our Fendel campus and our Capitol Hill campus and our medical campus, but even our Strauss Sinjay TVET campus. That is as important in something like the installation of solar. We need to make sure that our students are learning how to play their necessary roles in this development. So I'm quite excited to be here tonight. I want to thank you for the inspiration, and I'm glad to see that everyone here is as concerned about sustainable energy solutions as I am. Let's all figure out how we can work together and get this thing popping.
Thank you, the President of the University of Liberia. We stay on, prominent citizens of the area. Sorry that we cannot call everybody because we need to show you something, and then we also get remarks from the President. Everybody looking behind. How many of you can understand the Kolokwa? Yeah, because sometimes those of us from Lofa, the R and the L, they can give a hard time. You understand what I'm saying? So let me just say one thing again. During the elections, you can hear people, they want to copy what they see in Maserati, right? To take it to the rural area. So I will hear everybody say, Boaka go, Boaka come, Boaka get Mora. They put info here, I want to say that same thing. But when you're spelling Mora, it has R and L. So the only thing I could hear, Boaka go, Boaka come, Boaka get Mora. Remember your uncle said that. I know my uncle looking at me. But that's just by the way. So at this point, since the diaspora representative is still outside, we would like to get a special remark from the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yima Boakar, and he's being represented here by Ambassador Charles Slaughter, one of the very few people I listen to daily, already. Yeah. People in come forward.
Good evening to all.
Good evening, sir.
I'm Ambassador Charles Snetter, Ambassador at Large at the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. I'd like to start to say, Dr. Zina, Madam President, University of Liberia, Mr. Commissioner, other government officials here present, family and friends, I bring you greetings from His Excellency Joseph Boakai, who regrets for not being here. I actually went to bid him well, not farewell. I went to bid him well for his trip that he's making today to Accra, Ghana, representing Liberia at a very important occasion for the ECOWAS. And while we were talking, he never even mentioned that he wanted me to come and represent him. I had even left and he called me back. And he said, Charlie, I want you to please represent me to a Liberian who is launching something that is close to my heart, energy. And he told me point blank, please tell him that he shouldn't allow anybody to steal him away from Liberia. He says Liberia needs him so badly, and for what he has brought to Liberia, it's something that we have to support. Dr. Zina, your president is very pleased with what you're doing here. And he asked me to congratulate you and to let you know that on his return, he will take time to come and see what you've done and to encourage you to make sure that they don't steal you from Liberia. You know, if you know Joseph Boyka, he will tell you point blank. He says, from where he coming from, I don't know how he managed to escape. And if they know some of the things that he wants to do for us, they might have to come and grab him, offer him 3 times more of what he will want to make here and carry him away from us. But he asked that you please stay put. His government is going to support you and is going to encourage you to do exactly what your dream has brought you here to do. And I'm so proud to have been chosen to come and represent His Excellency and getting to even know you. You told me a few good things a few minutes ago, that he knew me when I was in my heyday doing my business in radio and broadcasting. So I feel so proud to represent His Excellency and to say congratulations, and I wish you so well in your undertaking. Thank you so much.
Like I said, I have the master sheets, and we're just going by the flow. Because of time's sake, we cannot allow everybody to speak. I'm sorry that we cannot have everybody. Now that the president has spoken, we have to close up. But we have a little thing to do, and that will have to do with the cutting of the ribbon. We're not cutting ribbon. We're going to be taking you on a tour to see exactly what we have as a setup, and to have a little interview of what we have here as well. And that will be led by Dr. Ziama. But before that, please, we are also celebrating the birthday of Dr. Ziama. So please, this is not part of the protocol. I don't have good voice. I want somebody to help. Let's sing a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you, dear. Happy birthday to you.
Come on in, everyone come. Let's pack up in here as tightly as possible.
Wow.
So, the first thing here, and Dogo is super attracted to the body because he knows the challenge of supporting all of your power needs when the sun is not shining. And that relies on the battery use. So this battery, firstly, it tells you this is a high voltage battery system. So we have 2 battery cabinets. So each of these battery has an interface here that tells you a lot of data. So 424 volts right now at this charge capacity of 93.1 state of charge system. So this single unit here is called a battery monitoring system. So each of these cabinets has 8 of these individual batteries. So the total capacity for this battery is 40 kilowatt hour for this cabinet, and this other cabinet is 40 kilowatt hours. So combined, both of them provide us 80 kilowatt hours. And we plan to double our battery capacity before this year ends, and that will give us more what we call days of autonomy. And that means, suppose we were to rain continuously for multiple days, how long are we still able to provide our power needs? That is your number of days of autonomy. And the more batteries you have, up to a certain upper limit, the more you are able to stay up and ready for those number of days. So we are going to be doubling our capacity of batteries so that we can have more than 2 current days of autonomy that we enjoy. So this tells you this is a high voltage battery. So whenever there is any leakage of power, which makes this instantly deadly to touch, the red alarm system will come on to tell you that this is actively leaking power. But to prevent any of that, we've grounded this system with this wire, and that bare copper wire, it is supposed to be bare, so there is nothing that is code breaking here. It is supposed to be bare, and that wire goes, wraps around, and is buried down in a mesh system. That takes any leakage, excess voltage out of the system so that it is safe to touch. But the moment anything leaks, this alarm system will tell us that. So that is the battery capacity. Now, the nerve center of this entire installation is this up here, which is the inverter. This inverter is a commercial and industrial solar inverter. So as you can see on the screen, it is telling us the sun is down, it is not producing any power from the solar panels, very little power, 0.15 kilowatts. But when the sun is at peak, it will produce up to 30 kilowatts of power. And this inverter, unlike other inverters that take in more power and release only little, it will take in 30 kilowatt of power, and it will also release up to 30 kilowatt maximum of power. So continuous, every second, it is delivering 30 kilowatts of power if you need it. If you don't need it, like right now, we are using only 4.9 kilowatts of continuous power. So it is not even shaking this object right now. So we can put a lot of industrial systems on this and it will still support it. Because guess what? We still have about 25 kilowatts of power that we are not using right now. That will be delivered through this system from the battery to support any load that we have. And the battery right now is telling us the state of charge of the battery. And if you look at the inverter is monitoring it, and you look on the screen there on the battery, it will also tell you they are consistent, and it is taking away 5.18 kilowatts of power, but it is supporting 4.9 kilowatts of load. The 0.1 kilowatt is what is dissipated out. And that is system loss. We can't do anything about that. It's the physics. We lose electrons in a wire. And then when the power comes from the solar panel, we have done something that is traditionally not done. So you want to have some of the best solar installers, like what I have done here. So at the level of the solar panel, I put in these wires, these red and black wires, are the wires that are coming from the solar panels. In these lines, underneath the solar panels, I put what we call inline fuse holders. And those will protect my costly inverter from any excess current that the solar panels may decide to throw at the inverter, right? Because remember, these solar panels are super efficient. They are very sensitive, right? They can just at some point provide excess power, right? So those inline fuse holders will disconnect the moment it senses that level of excess current. But we must also be worried not only about excess current, but about excess voltage also. And the place you want to stop that is in the power hose. So the excess current is stopped at the level of the panel. Those are hitting, they are outside here underneath the panel. But the excess voltage will be stopped by these boxes, these 4 boxes. These are surge protectors. So within them, you will see the breakers. But beside the breakers, you will see these things which are called the surge protectors. If there is any excess voltage that comes from the solar panels, or in cases of lightnings, the clouds are supercharged with voltage and they touch the panels, not destructively, but the panels, the edges are made of aluminum metals. Those metals can take excess power, and some of them may leak into the wires and be delivered here. These things will automatically trip the breakers. This is why each surge protector has its own breaker. This one is responsible to shut down this breaker whenever there is excess voltage. And all of these will do that. And then the rest of these boxes, these are called disconnect switches. And that is, suppose I want to come and service this box, and I want to turn everything off very easily. I just come and switch these things from the on position to the off positions, and then I can safely work on these things. Because remember, we are dealing with very high voltage systems here. And the one thing I should also say about these batteries is that each of these individual units of batteries, they have built-in fire arresters. So if anything were to happen here, although we have our spray here, right? But these batteries have built-in fire arresters. So if any single individual battery were to catch on fire, that individual battery has the technology in it. It will contain the fire within itself so that the fire doesn't spread to the other units. So why did we invest in all of these? Again, we want to build the best quality solar installations here. We are aiming to build some of the best systems, so to do that, it must be the safest systems. And especially if you are pioneering something of this high voltage, beyond what is normally used in residential homes, you have to put into place all of the safety mechanisms. So we built this so that it will pass the stringent code of safety standards in the United States. We are not building simply because maybe the implementation of safety laws may be lax in Liberia, so we just built anything. We built something here and produce videos and put it on YouTube, and to have people look at it and tell us if we've gone wrong anywhere. But we read all of the codes and safety standards at the level of the United States and build these things here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. And this is the big safety switch. If I put this down now, power in the entire compound goes off. So if something were to happen, all of these things, technology fails sometimes, were to fail, manual intervention will allow me to come and pull this handle down. And then everything shuts down. No damage downstream. Any questions? Yes?
The United States.
Yes.
The power system is based on 110.
Correct.
How have you converted it?
Very good question. So, again, this system, knowing exactly that the needs of local Liberian appliances are 220 volts, this system provides native 3-phase 120 volts and 208 volts. The 208 volts is your industrial power that supplies anything you need for 220. So the 110, 120 is exactly the United States appliances. So in that room behind you where all of your drinks are on ice, if you look through that window, you'll see a black freezer. That fridge is an American appliance. It's a 110 voltage appliance. So all of the outlets on this side of the wall are all 110. All of the outlets on this side of the wall are all 320 voltage. Wow.
Second question.
Yes, sir.
Your battery system.
Yes.
For instance, if it's raining 2 to 3 days,
Yeah.
how long will it last?
Very good question. So that is the days of autonomy. Right now we have 2 days of autonomy if we use our battery system aggressively and we are careless about minimizing our waste of energy. It will take us 2 days. But if we are careful, by the way, in America, Dr. Maparia knows, we are very sensitive about how you use your electricity because we have to pay bills. So when we are leaving our homes, we turn the switch off. If I were to do that here, then this battery will go for at least 3 days. But right now, if we just, and again, I have people in the yard, maintenance. Now we used to suffer a lot of power shortages issues. Now they have power. You know the song they sing around here? They say current waste. so take for instance, we are powering our water pump, our deep well water pump. Oh, we supply water for the entire community now. Wow. People bring their keke with the water containers in them to get free water outside the fence. We only shut the water off today at what was it, like 12 or 2 p.m. Because of this occasion, I didn't want a lot of noise in front of the fence. But if you go out the fence, there's a water pump there. The community gets water for free. Now, the problem with the days of autonomy is, so my boys, instead of pumping water during the day, when the sun is in the sky, they don't care, they say current waste. They start pumping water at night. We have a 1,500 gallon tank that is on the ground. It is not gravity filled from the height. And that, the deep well pump pumps the water from under the ground to the tank that is sitting on the ground. And then we have a pressurizer pump that pushes that water throughout the building and to the pump that is outside. So even the community get pressurized water. You can test it out for yourself. The pump is right outside the fence. So we do all of that. So they waste the power. That is what I meant to say. We waste the power and we still have 2 days of autonomy. But again, once we double the batteries, then I will not worry too much about the wastage of power.
So, any other question? So, if nothing is to be said, at this point, we just get out there. We got some.
So, when I was contemplating on coming to Liberia, the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted a place where I can sit and think freely. So I had transitioned from doing fundamental physics research to working in industry. So currently I'm an artificial intelligence scientist at Amazon. Before then, I was a string theorist. I worked purely in fundamental research in physics. And I enjoyed my space and my ability to think clearly. So the first thing I wanted to do in Liberia, before thinking of what exactly to do that would impact the society, was to build a building where I can sit and think. So I built that building for that purpose. I started that building for that purpose. And clearly you can see by the time I was building that building, and up to now, I don't have a home yet in Liberia. So clearly you can see that I care about where I do my thinking than where I do my sleeping. So that building was meant for that. But when the XCD idea emerged and crystallized in my head, now the other people on XCD, they told me, hey, that building, we're going to put you on one small corner of that building to do your thinking. The rest of the building is now the XCD headquarters office. So that's where we'll be doing all business, related to XCD. So we'll take you on a tour of that building that is almost 99% complete. This way. So we have 2 suites on the lower floor. And if you notice around everywhere the way we've done the electrical connections, everything is surface wall mounted, because I have this tendency to want to see the skeleton and bare bones of everything we install. So I want to see the wires in the building. And we have a lot of receptacles and connections. So wherever you have a desk, you are able to connect and plug your wires into the wall. The other thing we are doing, the air conditioning. And this is something we are going to bring to XCD as well for the residential homes. And we can also install for institutions these solar air conditioners. So remember I said we have excess panels over there, and the wires from those other excess panels will come directly into the air conditioner. So these air conditioning units, the way they work is that they are hybrid. So that means during the day, if you just install and connect the solar panels directly to them, as long as the sun is shining, in fact, the hotter it is during the day because of the lot of sunshine, the more your AC is working, because it harvests the power directly from the sunlight and powers the air conditioning. So we are going to be installing all of these boxes are air conditioning and their components. We're going to be installing throughout this building these air conditioning units. And they are smart enough so that when the sun is setting, then the switch from feeding off of the solar panel to feeding off the building electrical connections.
You need to have a store so the rest of us can come buy these things.
Definitely. And I'm going to open one because I'm still going to commercial work. And this building, I'll be the first to mention importing artisanal builders for exit. Look ahead of you. Do you see the height difference on that particular step? Those are things that were done in my absence, because even the pillars you see in this room, we're not supposed to have this many pillars. But the reason is that when the contractor promises me, this is the number of steel rods that is going to be in the beam, and I come and look at the beam, I know fully well it is impossible to pack that number of steel rods in this beam. I say, you've lied to me. you cheated. So now I have to support the undersized beams with extra pills. Wow. These are the things that I've learned here. And those are the things that we're not repeating exit. Space concept, and that is what we did here. And the other thing you should notice is that I love large windows. So brings me a lot. So make sure that we have a lot of windows here. Open space. For my thinking, all of this is also my thinking. And now it's cheap. So this is extra space. My thinking is now. This is my big issue. It used to be the entire building, but now it's reduced to here. But this is good enough for me. So this is going to be my personal side of the building. It's all completion in a few weeks. Near completion, we're still doing some cleaning up, some washing. The last floor, I don't think it's safe to go there. There's a lot of ladders and scaffolding that's on the way there. But the last floor is going to have a hall for where workers can go up there. There's a big kitchen there. They can have lunch. We can host workshops there. We also have 2-bedroom accommodation up there so that when I invite some academic or technical colleagues from the US, we don't have to spend on hotel hosting. They can be hosted right there. Everything will be fully powered, controlled electricity and peace. Everything is great work. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so at this point, I want to say thanks to every one of you for being here. Please go online for X-City. Online is XITY. You can actually follow us. Also on Facebook, X-City, so that you get more information. Besides just getting your, I know some of you are thinking that the first video we did, you see a lot of calls, you want to get so much energy in Liberia. We have a solution to X-City. So when you come to X-City, you have to thank you so much. At this point, we'll all go down. We can go to the top there. Those are sweating already. So let's just go up there and enjoy our food. And then you can also have one-on-one conversation while we're sitting down there. Thank you so much.
But before we really let me ask this question. This city is, if I'm correct, the headquarters of the city.
Yeah.
The Rafi Highway that we were told is a community of structural city. It's called what?
X-City. So this is the headquarters. So take for instance, the last time we did a program, people were asking where can we locate you guys. So this maybe in the next few months when you come, you have offices, you have desks here, where you make a call, someone will make a call and direct you there. Like the minister said, they're trying to work on the road to get there. Everything is there, and we have spaces available. So excellent is like the way you see these stars here. They're all lined up. You can get a spot there. You know, maybe you want to own a commercial area, there's a space for it. Maybe you're already into medicine or healthcare. You want to build a hospital, there's a space. Probably you want to have a park, there's a sport area. Everything is set. So you can just go there and get a spot. You have a residential area as well.
So you mean you do that in booking a space in highway from here?
So it's going to save you the stress of you going to say, oh, I will put in there. And then it's not going to be like you have your resident and your neighbor say, I want to use my own land for a mechanic shop. So why are you relaxing? Why are you go? That's a residential area.
A better example, when your neighbor decided for a church.
So go in your house, there's somebody praying, speaking in tongues. Yeah. So actually have a residential area. You get a commercial zone, you get a hospital, you get a recreation area. So when you're there, everything is available. And we still say, you can go there and you can improve your space. And the only thing is that when you not going to be like, have you buying it? There's whatever I'll put it after that. There's a layout, there's a design that you have to put in. Is there. And we have the engineers that only help you build what you want. Yeah. Yeah, that's not right. This next year is going to be like some additional.
Just you
Abigail.